On a Tuesday morning in June 1692, the entire Caribbean shifted. Not politically, not economically, literally. The ground beneath Port Royal, Jamaica, moved like water. It was 11:43 in the morning. We know the exact time because a pocket watch was found in the harbor 50 years later, frozen at that precise moment. The 1692 earthquake didn't just destroy a city, it swallowed it whole. Port Royal wasn't just any city. According to contemporary records, it was called the richest and wickedest city in the New World, a pirate haven, a trading fortress, home to 6,000 people living on loose sand just offshore. When the earthquake struck, that loose sand did something terrifying. It liquefied. Buildings didn't collapse, they sank. Streets opened like hungry mouths. An eyewitness, the Anglican rector Emmanuel Heath, described seeing the earth open and swallow a multitude of people. About 2,000 died in minutes. The sea retreated 300 yards, then came back as a tsunami that lifted a British naval frigate, the HMS Swan, over the rooftops of sinking buildings. 2/3 of Port Royal vanished beneath 40 feet of water. The pirate cemetery, where Sir Henry Morgan was buried, completely disappeared. His body has never been found. But here's where the story gets interesting. Instead of rebuilding Port Royal, the survivors looked across Kingston Harbor and decided to start fresh. In July 1692, they founded Kingston, a new city built on the mainland, safe from the unstable peninsula. By 1716, Kingston had become Jamaica's largest town. By 1775, when the British governor moved all government offices from Spanish Town to Kingston, the city's population had exploded to 26,478 people, including 16,659 enslaved people. Think about that number. Nearly 2/3 of Kingston's population in 1775 were enslaved human beings, according to colonial records. Kingston remained segregated, violent, and chaotic for centuries. But it also became something else, a crucible for Caribbean culture. Fast forward to 1914. Two young Jamaicans, Marcus Garvey and his wife Amy Ashwood Garvey, founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association in the Kingston market section of the city. The UNIA eventually became the largest organization in the world, composed of people of African ancestry. Garvey moved to the United States 2 years later, but the Kingston-born movement would reshape global black consciousness. According to historical records, UNIA membership claimed millions by the 1920s, with divisions across North America, the Caribbean, Africa, and Europe. This wasn't just a Jamaican organization. This was a Pan-African revolution that began in Kingston. But Kingston's greatest gift to the world didn't come from politics. It came from music. By the early 1970s, in a Kingston neighborhood called Trenchtown, a musical revolution was happening. Trenchtown got its name from something grim. Residents called the unpaved streets without sidewalks trenches. It was a slum, a working-class neighborhood born in the 1930s when rural Jamaicans migrated to the capital seeking work. According to historical documentation, Trenchtown was built on 400 acres of land once owned by an 18th century Irish immigrant named Daniel Power Trench, who used it for livestock. From that harsh reality, reggae music emerged. Bob Marley moved to Trenchtown when he was 12 years old. In the government yard tenement blocks on 1st Street, he learned to play guitar. He met his wife, Rita. He wrote "No Woman, No Cry" about the government yard he called home. In those crowded quarters with communal bathrooms and shared cooking spaces, he and other artists like Jimmy Cliff and Peter Tosh created music that would eventually captivate the entire world. According to reggae historians, Trenchtown is documented as the birthplace of rocksteady and reggae music. One artist after another, the Wailers, the Skatalites, all emerged from that same neighborhood. The music they created wasn't escapism. It was resistance. It was documentation of real struggle transformed into universal human truth. But Kingston's story doesn't end with reggae and nostalgia. When independence came in 1962, Kingston remained Jamaica's capital, and the city underwent radical transformation. The government lifted the old height restrictions from the 1907 earthquake, and New Kingston emerged, a downtown of high-rise office buildings that became the island's financial center. Meanwhile, uptown Kingston became home to Parliament and other government institutions. Today, according to the most recent census, Kingston has a population of 937,700. It's the center of trade, manufacturing, and shipping for the entire nation of Jamaica. The city that began as survivors fleeing a catastrophe has become a sprawling metropolis where Hope Royal Botanical Garden spans 2,000 acres, where the Museum of Jamaican Art stands alongside Emancipation Park, where athletes like Usain Bolt trained at the athletic track and field training area before winning Olympic gold medals. This is Kingston, a city born from earthquake devastation, a city that incubated Marcus Garvey's Pan-African vision, a city that gave reggae to the world through the genius of people living in tenement yards with nothing but their voices and their dreams. But here's what strikes me most. Kingston is rarely discussed in the context it deserves. When people think of Caribbean history, they think of tourist resorts. When they think of reggae, they think of Bob Marley as an isolated genius. They don't understand that Kingston is a city of radical transformation, a place where tragedy became a foundation for something greater. Listen, if this story just made you realize how little you knew about Kingston, comment below. Tell me, which part surprised you most? The 1692 earthquake? Marcus Garvey founding UNIA there? The fact that reggae literally emerged from Kingston's poorest neighborhood? Like this video. Share it with someone who needs to understand that Caribbean history isn't a footnote to world history, it's world history. Subscribe to Ike Mafuna History TV. We uncover the stories they never taught you, the foundations of movements, the birthplaces of revolutions, the cities that shaped global culture. Every week we go deeper into history that transforms how you see the world, because Kingston's story is proof of something fundamental. From catastrophe comes creation. From oppression comes art. From community comes culture. Don't let these stories be forgotten. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Be part of the movement that refuses to let history be erased. This is Kingston. This is why it matters.